Eloo and the echoes of the sky. In the farthest corner of the whispering forest, beyond the sacred spring and the shimmering fields of moonflowers, stood a mountain no one dared to climb. It was called the Sky Mirror, not because it held magic, but because it touched the clouds and, on clear nights, reflected the stars. Legends whispered that the mountain was a gateway, a place where the earth could speak to the sky, but no animal had ever reached its peak. Some had tried, most had turned back. Some said the wind there spoke in riddles. Others said the stones moved when you weren't looking. But one young elephant, Eloo, dreamed of it often. Since returning from the silent wastes and reviving the sacred spring, Eloo had become more than a symbol of hope. He had become a keeper of belief. Animals came to him when they were lost or weary. They didn't always need words, just his presence, his calm, his faith. And yet, in the quietest part of his heart, Eloo felt something stirring. Not from the forest, not from the river, from above, the mountain was calling. He didn't know what waited at the top, only that he must go. One soft evening, as fireflies blinked awake and the stars took their places in the sky, Eloo stood beside Grandfather Baobab, the ancient tree who had witnessed more seasons than the stars themselves. "You feel it, don't you?" Baobab asked, his bark groaning gently. Eloo nodded. "I don't know what it is, but it's there. Up high, the forest once listened to the sky," Baobab said. "And the sky listened back. But we forgot how. Maybe it's time someone remembered." So the next morning, Eloo set out again, quietly, with no fanfare, no send-off, just a gentle breath and the rhythm of his feet. He passed the moonflower fields, which bowed under the morning light. He crossed Wind Hollow, where breezes whispered stories older than words. He followed the mossy path to the foot of the Sky Mirror. The mountain loomed above him, silver, blue and silent. Its stones shimmered faintly, as if hiding memories. No signs marked the way. No trail welcomed him. Only the wind, waiting. Eloo placed one foot on the cool stone. It echoed, not like thunder, but like memory. He began to climb. The higher he went, the quieter the world became. Trees thinned. The sky grew closer. His steps grew heavier. But he didn't stop. Not because he was strong, but because he believed. The days grew colder. Winds clawed at him. Sometimes he slipped. Sometimes he sat in silence for hours, waiting for the next step to make itself known. He walked not with a map but with faith. One night, he entered a narrow pass and heard something strange. Echoes. But they weren't of wind or birds. They were of his own voice, his own breath. The mountain was speaking in reflection. He heard himself laugh. He heard his childhood fears. He heard his mother's lullabies. He heard the moment he first believed in something greater than himself, and he wept. "I'm not enough," he whispered. The wind paused. The echoes grew still. Then came a soft reply, not from outside, but from within. Faith is not about being enough. It is about being open. Eloo lay there for hours, not moving, not thinking, just being. And the mountain seemed to breathe with him. At sunrise, he stood again and walked. For 2 more days, he climbed in silence until he reached the summit. And what he found was nothing. No shrine, no miracle, just the endless sky. The clouds drifted around him like slow waves, and yet, in the stillness, everything spoke. Within Eloo's chest, something bloomed. The sky hummed with a melody older than time. Stars shimmered in daylight like secrets unspoken. And deep he did not speak. He did not ask, he simply listened. And the sky answered, not in words, but in understanding. You came not to find, but to remember, it said. And in that moment, Eloo saw everything. He saw the trees whispering to roots. He saw rivers tracing the shape of old songs. He saw animals glowing with light they didn't know they carried. He saw the forest not as a place but as a prayer. And he understood. We are all echoes of each other, of love, of the divine. A single silver tear fell from the sky and landed on Eloo's head. It shimmered and vanished, not as magic, but as truth. When Eloo returned, he did not speak of what he saw. He did not boast of his climb. He simply smiled, and wherever he stepped, the grass grew softer. The air felt warmer. The animals felt peace. When asked what he found at the top of the sky mirror, he only said, I found the silence that speaks, and they understood. From that day on, animals prayed not just with words but with stillness. They listened to the wind with wonder. They believed again in what could not be seen. Remember something old, because faith is not a destination. And every night, Eloo sat by the sacred spring, gazing at the stars, not to find something new, but to it as a rhythm. A breath, a quiet walk up a high mountain, to touch the sky within.